easy, slow, lazy spin, and I don't know about the 18 and the 48s, spins there. I don't know what their scenarios were, but that's what happened with us. It wasn't a big drama, just I got it loose, and I couldn't get it corrected fast enough to get it back underneath me, and just lost it the rest of the way. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem.
Hi, Tony. Joe Bequino, KPNX. Just your thoughts 5 races in of where your team is and how far this team can go?
Well, you never know. I mean, this is a sport where technology changes every week, so it's hard to say where exactly it can go, because it's a week-to-week sport where, other pro sports, it's pretty much where it is. There's not a lot of technology that changes the sport, so that's where what we do is different. But, I'd like to be a little higher in the points, but the main thing is just staying in the top 12 and after 26 races, being in the top 12 and trying to have everything ready for that last 10-week stretch.
Mark Armijo, the Arizona Republic. Tony, along with the challenges of the 2 sets of turns here, has the added race distance, the earlier start time, the spoiler, added new wrinkles to it, or is that not that big a deal?
Not that big a deal.
Claire in the back.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. 2 quick questions. The first is about you encouraging fans to go greener and Earth Day. What have you learned about that? And talk about your paint scheme.
What I have learned so far is it doesn't take near as much effort as everybody thinks it does to make a pretty big impact. I mean, it's little things like making sure, just like what we do at the racetrack, and NASCAR's been pretty proactive about this for a long time with Safety Clean and making sure whether it's oil, depositing it in the right containers. At our shop we've got our heating and air conditioning system. After 5 o'clock, it goes into a conservation mode and doesn't. It may not keep the temperature at 70 degrees, but it's a lot more efficient at night. So we're not constantly using energy. The lights are on timers and motion sensors. So if nobody's in the room and it doesn't detect motion after a certain period of time, it automatically shuts the lights off. It's just little things like that when everybody does it, it is going to make a huge impact on what we all do. So just being smart in little ways, and no matter what, everybody, it's kind of like the voting deal. You think that one person can't make a huge difference, but it does, and just a little bit of effort will make a huge impact on how we all live down the road.
And can you talk about qualifying today? There have been some drivers talking about the sun in the eyes when you come around and qualify, and you only get 2 looks at it. Can you, for the race fans, sort of define what that's like, and if you have an issue with that?
Wait till dark, go out to the interstate, stand out in the middle of the lane, and wait for cars with their high beams to come. And that's kind of what it's like going down in there. It is kind of difficult here because you're going directly into the sun. But the nice thing is, as the session goes, the sun will go behind the suites, and with the suites being as high as it'll bring that shade in sooner. So depending on what you draw, may make that better for you or worse as far as how that sun is. But qualifying moves along pretty quick here, so it's pretty much going to be the same for everybody.
We'll go in the back to David.
David Caravella, NASCAR.com. Tony, Denny faces the possibility of having to turn his car over to a relief driver tomorrow night. You've been there. Is that tough, not just from an injury standpoint, but also from a pride standpoint, given that it's your car, it's your name on the door? Does any of that play into it?
It never did from my standpoint, because it took a lot to get me out of cars. I mean, if I get out, or if somebody gets out of a race car, that they're in a lot of pain or don't feel well, and at least my mindset is if I'm not being able to focus on what I'm doing, I'm not doing a good job for the team. So the best thing to do is get somebody in that can focus. And so no driver wants to have to get out of a race car, but at the same time, I mean, this is a sport where we play sick, we play hurt. We don't get substitutions. So when you get in a scenario like this where you have to potentially look at putting somebody in there, you realize it's not something that happens very often here. So it's, unfortunately, it's a necessity to sometimes be in a situation where you got somebody on standby that can go in and, this isn't a sport where if you just go out of bounds, it's no big deal. The ref blows the whistle and you start over. You go out of bounds here, it hurts. So to make his problem worse if he has a problem.
Mike Mullen, MikeMullen.net. I'm sure Tony's going to like this question. Nextera, you guys do a lot of wind power, solar power. I'm sure he could probably set up some wind power stuff in here to generate enough Energy's
Put it in front of your
racetrack, so-
table, it would be
Yeah,
fine.
probably.
Should be able to power all of the greater
Yeah,
Phoenix area.
I hear you now. Put it, yeah. Do you have any? Pocono's got a solar farm or whatever they're doing. Are you guys planning on doing anything in NASCAR other than just sponsoring? I mean, you got to build stuff somewhere and try to light the track at night or anything like that?
Yeah, thanks. We've had a partnership with ISC for a couple years now, and we are evaluating different alternatives of what we can do at their track. Primarily for the first sponsorship arrangement that we have with ISC, we've carbon balanced all the events at Daytona and Homestead, and now we're looking at, similar with the Office Depot balancing effort here for this weekend. But we're also looking at what we can do with the land that ISC has at the various tracks and whether you can implement solar or wind technologies at the facilities.
Mike Finnegan, TTP Motorsports. Tony, being an owner for a little over a year now, have you learned anything that's changed any direction of the operation for this year, or any focus, any new goals that you have set for you or Ryan's team?
No, not really. It's the good thing is we got off on the right foot last year, so we kind of got in that mode and got in the right direction to start with. It's just a matter of like we mentioned earlier, the technology constantly changes each week, and what you're doing to the race cars to try to keep that balance is what the direction that we're trying to find, and everybody's trying to find. So there's no magic to it. It's just literally just trying to go and do a better job of figuring it out than the rest of everybody else. But there's no set direct plan of saying this is the direction we're trying to go. We've been on that course since we started, and it'll stay that way.
Any other questions to Tony or as well as our guests? Yep. Claire?
Can I just ask one question I had for the race at Talladega? And, we talk about the factor of everything being up on the edge at Talladega. Is that ever unsettling still to you?
Well, anytime that you're running 190 miles an hour and you know that two guys don't even have to make a mistake and it can cause a wreck that can crash 20 cars, that's always a little unnerving. But it is what it is, and the fans think it's the greatest thing in the world. So as long as they like it, we'll keep doing it.
Tony, your thoughts on Jimmy's quick start, being four-time champion. Now he's won 3 of the first 5 races. Your thoughts on what he's doing and what the rest of the field has to do to try to keep pace?
He's winning. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, bud. I mean, if we all knew that, he wouldn't have won 3 in a row. A bunch of us would have already figured it out. But you're asking for an answer to a question that we're all trying to figure out right now.
Any other questions for Tony and or our guests? Great. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time.